Well, that was exciting. I guess we ran out of the battery. Haven't done that yet. Like I say, this is a brand new phone for me. I mean, not phone, this is a brand new camera. Sure wish I knew more about how to operate it, but we'll figure it out one of these days. Before we were so rudely interrupted, I was forgetting what I was talking about, I guess. Oh, I was telling you about I finally bought a new stereo. And so I got clipsless Scalas. They just sound great. I bought a Rogue Cronus Magnum 3 amplifier. Some Cambridge streamer and a Cambridge CD transport. Planar 8 turntable. Rack to put it all on. And a Sugar Cube SC1, which I hope will help me digitize more records if I want to. Although I imagine it'll be a while. I'm sure it's going to take more than a day or two to set this stuff up. But I'm looking forward to it. And then I'll have great music to listen to while I try and figure out what I'm doing with the rest of the house here. Living alone for the first time in a long, long time. I was thinking about it the other day, and the last time I lived alone was from about March until August of 1970. Been married since 71. Lived in, had roommates or communal property or whatever. Except for that brief time there and a couple of months when I was in college, I had my own apartment, lived alone. Most of the time I had roommates. I think I prefer having roommates, but I'm not ready for a roommate quite yet here. But I'm looking forward a lot to being able to, for my new stereo. I have been buying records like crazy in anticipation. Some of them come in. There's a lot of them coming on their way. Some of the things I've gotten recently and had a chance to listen to. This thing here, I got the exclusive opaque violet vinyl Barnes and Noble. I can't remember. I remember I wanted to order it from Tedeschi Trucks website. And they were out of all the exclusive colored vinyl, and I don't know why I opted for the purple one from Barnes and Noble. Sounds great. What a great show! What a great band, and what a great set. I mean, Layla, come on, Layla, which is actually another box set I just got, was a 4LP Layla that has the live stuff from the Johnny Cash show and the second album that never got released stuff. That's real good. What else I just got? I've listened to a couple of these. I'm waiting to listen to a bunch of them, but this thing, in 1981, the Germans produced this 9-album, 11 vinyl box set of the Who, up to Who Are You, which is, I believe, up through all the stuff up through everything that Keith Moon was in. I just see the Omaha Introvert showed this as being her least favorite Who album the other day. I don't know. I have issues with favorites and rankings. I have trouble figuring out which one I like better. I either like something or don't like it. And I like a lot of stuff. I don't like a lot of stuff. And just to really screw up all you members of the vinyl community, a couple of things I don't like is I don't like Led Zeppelin. There you go. I've said it. I bought their second album when it first came out. I don't have it anymore. It was probably an RL too because of when I bought it. I don't know why I don't like Led Zeppelin. I actually went and saw them once, the Oakland Arena, and we had special seats. I was a friend got me tickets into the bleachers, so I was basically right on the side of the stage. They got 70,000 people out in front of you, and this was before they remodeled the Oakland Coliseum, so it didn't have the big wall of seats in the outfield like it does today. They just had wooden bleacher benches, and there was a big gap where they ran equipment in and out of the field through, and that's where they put the stage, right behind the outfield wall, and or somewhere, maybe even over the outfield wall. Bill Graham presents Oakland Coliseum Day on the Greens. There's been, 30 or 40 of them. I've been to a bunch of them, and a couple of them where I got the backstage view. The sound is great because you're so close to the stage and you're hearing their monitors. The big speakers are way over your head going the other direction, and you can see okay, but it's a sideline shot. You're not in front of the stage. But everybody said Led Zeppelin, you got to see them live. You got to see them live, and I go, oh yeah, okay. Me and another friend of mine that doesn't particularly care for Led Zeppelin either. We went. We stayed. Well, actually, we left before the show was over. I've tried to listen to them since then. I even went down and borrowed a bunch of them from the library, so I've got them on my hard drive. But it's like they're good, but they're not my favorite. They're not my kind of band. Who knows why you grab a hold of which bands you like and which bands you don't like. But Led Zeppelin's probably the biggest band. They're all right. Every once in a while I'll hear a song on the radio, but I don't listen to the radio very much. And if I'm not playing it, if I'm not playing it, I don't hear it. It's like so Led Zeppelin's one that I listened to Noble Records guy, what's his name, Dylan in South Carolina the other day, and he was going on and on and on about how much he loves Led Zeppelin. That's great, and that's fine. And that was actually what prompted me to go borrow them from the library to give them another shot. And I think I ended up with all of them except for Physical Graffiti. I think they don't have a copy or something, whatever. But I get 10-15 minutes of Led Zeppelin, I'm tired of them. I don't know. But so who do I like? Well, number one, I guess I like the Grateful Dead. I like the Flaming Groovies. I like lots and lots of bands, and I've seen lots and lots of bands. But I saw the Flaming Groovies in October of '69. I saw the Grateful Dead in February and April of '69. These were a few of the bands that I saw in Omaha before I moved to California. And then, of course, both those bands are Bay Area bands. And when I first moved to California, the Flaming Groovies were a bar band that played every couple of months. They were playing in the bars in Berkeley, and go see them all the time. That was the original Roy Loney lineup. After Roy left the band, the Chris Wilson lineup didn't play locally very much. They all lived here, but they didn't play here very much. They were bigger in Europe or something, so that's okay. Got to see them a few times back then. They didn't play the bars like the Roy Loney version did. But I got to see them all the time. And then they went. They had another couple incarnations, and then they remember the one Flaming Groovies show that I really remember. I don't remember when it is, but I think it was the early '90s. New George's in San Rafael at that time was a bar. San Rafael's right over the bridge. I went over there. It was a weeknight. It was a rainy night. I think there was another big show somewhere in town or whatever. But and this was the Flaming Groovies. It had Cyril and George from the original band, and it had the two other guys. They were good, but I think they might have recorded something called one of the mid-90 records. They might have been part of that, but they weren't the regular band, and they didn't last very long. They put on a hell of a show, but it's a weeknight, New Georgia, San Rafael, not a hopping spot. I believe my remembrance of this is there were probably 5 paying customers in that place, and maybe 5 or 6 more pals of the bartender, pals of the waitresses, waitresses' boyfriends, and maybe 5. There couldn't have been more than 15 people in the crowd, which is always disappointing. And those guys came out and just blew the fucking roof off the place. They were just, yeah, you're going to go tell your friends, Anyhow, that's another Flaming Groovy story. If you watch my channel, you'll probably get a lot of them. I can report that I have seen the newest version of the band. They finally kicked George out. Cyril's got the band all to himself now, and a bunch of hired guns, and they're pretty good. I've seen them a couple of times. I think they're better with Chris Wilson than without Chris Wilson. Chris Wilson has been, I believe, drying out or something. He's got some health issues and has not been in the band for a while. But I think it was 2018 or 2019. I think it was 2019. They made this big plan for a European tour. They were going to play Teenage Head, which is the great third and final Roy Loney LP that they produced in 71, I think it was. The band basically, Roy quit the band right after that record came out, so they never really played all of those songs live. I know at their 50th anniversary show, which was probably 2015, 16, I don't know when it was exactly, over at the Chapel in San Francisco. It was a real good show. Roy came out and they played 5 songs off of Teenage Head that they had never played live before. And they were good. That band was good. That was a good show. It was a bunch of people that had been members of the band and were no longer members of the band came and sat in that night, and it was a great show. So a few years later, I think it was still the Chris Wilson version, was planning a tour of Europe with the added special guest of Roy Loney on vocals. And they did a warm-up show over at the Chapel that I didn't go to because I had tickets to another show by the time I found out about it. It was kind of a quick show they just added. But about 3 weeks later, they added one more quick show over at the place in San Rafael, Sweetwater. Bobby Weir's club, the Sweetwater. So me and some friends went over to that show because it was a warm-up show. It was about a week before or 4 or 5 days before they were flying off to Europe to do, I think they had 20 gigs booked or something. This was a final warm-up show, and it was the current Flaming Groovies at the time with Roy Loney added on vocals, and they did almost all a Teenage Head. It was a great show. That tour, the tour happened, but Roy Loney didn't happen. He had an accident on the way to the airport, fell, cracked his head open, and passed away about 2 weeks later or a week later. So I guess I saw the last Roy Loney performance. The people in England the people in Europe, I think it was all European, not England, tour. They got a good show, but they didn't get Roy Loney. They didn't get the show I got. Matter of fact, the Roy Loney memorial show, which I had a ticket to, would have been my last show before the pandemic. But as it turned out, my last show before the pandemic was a week and a half, 2 weeks earlier, where I saw Marcia Ball and Sonny Landreth at the Freight and Salvage. By the time this memorial show, and I've seen a lot of it on YouTube, and it looked like it would have been a great show to go to, I had this ear infection and this runny nose and shit. I just couldn't go. It was like, there, you know, physically I couldn't go to that show, and it really broke my heart. I can only think of like 3 shows that I've missed that I had tickets to and was going to go to. And they go from 1970. I missed a Poco Procol Harum show. And both of those were real favorite bands of mine. But I was sick. I just couldn't go. And then, that was, like I say, 1970, I think, sometime, before I got married. And then again in, I don't even remember when it was, 2016, 2015, the Gene Taylor Blues Band was going to play, I think it was the Sweetwater again. But I had tickets to that, and that was another night that I was too sick to go. You know, you get to be an old man, you get sick sometimes, you can't go to a show. Really hate that when it happens, but what can you do? So, I should probably stop this video because I'm sure it's way too long. A couple of more things though. I did just get the new Beach Boys. This is the book that comes with it. Beautiful. So just recently I started buying vinyl again, and I missed out on the Beatles Mono Box Set. So the other day I was going, well, I tried to find it. I could find it for sale, but $2,200 I'm not paying for a box set. Even though I could afford it now. I mean, I could never afford that kind of shit up until a couple of years ago, but I'm just not going to do it. I got it on compact disc, and I did just buy the 3 LP one that's coming out, or is already out, of the Mono Box, the Mono Beatles, the singles, the catch-all album, which I've probably got that in 3 or 4 different versions. I also ordered the new Let It Be box set. It's not coming yet, but coming real soon. They've been shipped, but they haven't got here yet. I got the Ray Charles 7 LPs in mono box set. I got the Little Richard mono box set, and I got the Johnny Cash Mercury box set. One of my friends that does some liberal downloading of goodies off the internet just recently given me a flat copy of the complete Johnny Cash on Columbia, which is excellent stuff. And I own some of it, of course, but I didn't own all of it. So with this one, I'm probably going to have everything Johnny ever did, because I got all the American music albums on CD, and I think I got almost all the Sun cuts on a little box set, this and that, and a lot of different things. So with those Mercury albums from 1981 to 96 or whatever they are, I'm looking forward to those coming in. So anyway, like I say, I'm just so excited that in the next, probably by Monday or Tuesday, I'll have gotten all my parts, and I'll have my new stereo, and I'll be a real happy boy. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Talk to y'all later. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye.